So you are bad at being a tank on your Berserker. That's okay. I'm gonna help you suck less. The first thing I want to talk about are your blessings and your glyphs. In the first slot, I always say getting drunk. It gives you more intoxication, which gives you more DPS and more phantoms. In the second slot, I use expensive wine. Since Drink Up is a skill that you constantly use in your rotation, it's going to give you more aggro and more damage. In the third slot, there's two viable options. Cloud Front makes your R&B charge 30% faster, which gives you more damage throughout the fight and has defensive viability if you use it outside of your Wind Rider state. Wind Searcher has the potential to give you more damage if you do end up critting a lot, but for me it's just too RNG, so I just don't use it. The crit resistance it gives is nice, but it just feels really unnecessary right now and might be something to look into once we have more content like raids that require that kind of defensive stats. In the fourth slot, I always go heroically into battle. The extra healing that you get can really come in clutch in situations where you just need to be healed quick and you're low on HP. Look for Soulmates gives you more intoxication, but you really don't need more than you already have when you play properly. In the final slot, Chasing the Wind gives you more uptime on your big defensive cooldowns and should always be picked flat out. And as for glyphs, I always use Sea of Clouds, Drunken Master, Returning Swallows, Numerous Drinks, and Lying on a Green Hill, and for boss fights I swap out Sea of Clouds for Desire. Moving on to stat priority, I always take Mastery, as much Mastery as I can. It gives me more aggro generation, increases my incoming healing, and gives me more health. Crit resistance is a very important stat later on, but if there ever does come a time where you run into problems because your crit resistance is too low, you can simply go ahead and swap out the Cloud Front Blessing for Wind Searcher. Before I go over the rotation, I want to talk about some important skills, the first of which being Wind Rider. Wind Rider is a DPS stance which should almost always be turned on. Wind Rider gives you 20% more damage and makes your Phantom return deal AoE damage around you when you call it back. The only time you ever turn this ability off is when you're uncertain about a boss fight or ad pull and you want to play it extra safe. The next two skills I want to talk about are Rage of the Mountain and Call of the Wolf. Rage of the Mountain reduces the damage you take by 40% for 7 seconds and gives you a shield equal to 15% of your max HP. The way you want to use it is by simply tapping it once and tapping it again to immediately cancel the taunt effect. Call of the Wolf I only use to regenerate my intoxication. You could use it at the start of a fight, for example, to give your team more damage, or during more damage heavy phases, but fuck that. Next up is Headwind Style. This skill is as straightforward as it gets. It's a block, you take less damage. And last but not least, let's talk about Drunkenness. This skill reduces the damage you take by 40% for the next 8 seconds, and if during those 8 seconds you get hit by something that would be fatal to you, you don't die, and instead you regenerate HP, which is also supplemented by the Desire glyph. Now you might be wondering, how do I make sure that all the mobs in the dungeon get pulled back on top of me, just like a Spearmaster does? Well, let me tell you, you can do it even better. When you spawn a Phantom using Rainbow Shadow, every mob that is in that green circle around the Phantom gets pulled directly on top of you as soon as you use Phantom Return. And to make it even better, you can keep doing this over and over again. And last but not least, we have the damage rotation. Now how do you deal damage exactly? First, you start off with an LMB, followed by Drink Up, followed by 2 LMBs, followed by another Drink Up, followed by a fully charged R&B. And the full rotation would look something like this. And that's the guide. If there's anything that I missed, something that needs more explanation, or something I simply got wrong, please let me know in the comments below. Thank you for watching.